achieve something, there has to be a white face involved. You got to have a black sidekick.
All they wanted, and they still were against it.
All of their challenges should be based in townships.
Military mindset of them always being the cream on top.
Etadar, Ditembaba Nisapila, Kelek Ile Kwakona. On this week's episode, I moderate an extremely real and raw roundtable discussion in reaction to the following news headline from March 2021. Love Island, South Africa's reality show is too white. The participants were the co-founders of Zone 17 Co-Living, Yoli and Sabu Nocanda, and their inner circle. I read half of the BBC article aloud toward the beginning of the episode, but if you prefer to skip past that, you can make use of the chapter markers below. Just so you know, I edited this and the next two forthcoming episodes long before I was ready to launch my channel, and that laptop I edited on tragically died, so unfortunately the episode numbers and branding you'll see is outdated. Anyways, I think the discussion will give you a rare window into the lives and honest perspectives of many Black Township residents, especially as it pertains to race and representation. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, welcome. This is the first in a series that we're doing with Zone 17. Hopefully gonna release a new episode of this segment once a week. We'll see how successful we are, but basically the idea is just to give you a little window or a little ear in on the type of banter that we tend to have up at Kasi, but the focus on this particular segment is always going to be on something which we feel is particularly important. As side by side, we're trying to bridge the gaps across the races, across the classes, across the cultures. Been doing that obviously through tourism with side-by-side experiences, but now we're getting into the podcasting talk show game. So basically, you can see we pretty much trying to have a chill sesh, and I'm gonna moderate a little bit because there's obviously a lot of voices here. And we want so you never know, there might be a little too much rowdiness that I might have to just simmer down a bit. But anyways, I'm gonna hand over to Yoli, who's just gonna introduce Zone 17 very quickly and basically the meaning of where we are in this process.
Yeah. So basically, greetings to everyone. Zone 17, simple. We're just trying to integrate townships. That's like where no integration happens. We're going to try and get that done. But I do want to say something else. I'm sure everyone can see there's like a bunch of boobs. They're like, why are we drinking here and whatnot? The reason why we're doing this is that, as Africans, as people, as friends, as brothers, as sisters, it's called an offering. Whatever you want to say, do, or whatnot, you usually put an offering there. Sometimes maybe meat. Today it's booze. It's an offering. So yeah, feel free, guys. Let's drink. Let's have a good time. Let's chat. But yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh wait. The episode this week is gonna focus on the latest scandal with Love Island, South Africa, which I think many people are talking about, but many people don't get to hear these conversations, how they go down. So I'm just gonna quickly read this BBC article that summarized the situation, so we're all on the same page with the facts, nah? So the title is Love Island, South Africa's reality show is, quote, too white. Alright, as the Love Island reality TV franchise launches in South Africa, the show has come under fire from viewers who say it fails to reflect the racial makeup of the majority Black nation. South African media say just 2 contestants are Black and 2 are colored, the official term for mixed race people in the country. The other 6 housemates are white. In all, 10 contestants are vying to win the series and take home 1 million rand, which is about $66,000. The spokesman said more contestants would be arriving in the next few days who would reflect South Africa's diversity. The reality TV series, which began in the UK before spin-offs launched elsewhere in the world, sees a group of men and women living in a villa isolated from the outside world. They couple up and take part in challenges to win the support of the voting public and ultimately compete for the cash prize. Participants are capitulated into the limelight, and there has been criticism in recent years that Love Island has failed to adequately support contestants' mental health, while Black contestants have spoken out about experiencing racism. Love Island says it has taken steps to address these issues, and in a first, a couple Black A black couple won the U.S. edition last year. Yet many viewers in South Africa are disappointed with the program's debut in their country. Quote, wow, so much diversity. That's obviously sarcasm. This is a true representation of what I thought SA looks like. And then, according to a 2011 census, at least 79% of South Africa's population is black, 9% is white, 9% is colored, and 3% is Indian. It says, quote, there aren't any Indian people on Love Island SA. The one time we're thankful for not being represented. So just to give me your overview of your impression, like when you read those headlines, just give me your general impression, and then we'll just get a little taste of what everyone's sort of feeling and thinking about it, and then we'll jump into some of the topics.
Okay, cool, man. I just got a question for you, basically.
Wait.
Before I can chime into anything
Nice.
else. Like, you've been to Point, you've been to Kailicha, you've seen both worlds of like how South Africa is. So, based on your view, on your perspective, how would you say the show is?
Well, look, the one topic that I definitely wanted to get into is actually if we can try to place ourselves in the shoes of those producers, not to just simply demonize them, but to think was there a certain logic that they had? Now they've already said that you're gonna see more diversity coming in as the show progresses because they add new contestants. But one point I raised with Yoli by voice memo was perhaps because it's kind of a ritzy show, you're in a villa, it's sort of like the high life and whatnot. When you look at perhaps, let's say, a Cape Town, and you look at those spaces, what is the representation in those spaces? Maybe it is more like at least 60% white, and then 40% black and brown. Maybe, I could be wrong, but my point is just to pose that question. But obviously my first impression is, no, this should be a representation of the country, because this is also a beautiful opportunity to get people to change their mind within the country, even to show the world. The narrative that the world's heard is the Mandela's Rainbow Nation, and they come here hoping to see the new democracy. So the point is, obviously we're not there, 27 years later, and ultimately I think the show has a responsibility to actually move the needle on inclusion and representation within the country. Not just to say what is the current status quo and let's reinforce that. Let's actually use our opportunity to advance it. So that was my impression.
But if I also may...
Nice. Then let's go back to Lindani because he.
Okay, cool. Just to answer your question on like what's my impression when it comes to the show, right? Basically, I don't. From my perspective, I feel like it's not South African enough, right? Yes, we're talking about villas, we're talking about the living elsewhere, like probably in Sipon or wherever, but all I'm saying is like the same version like they put out like the last year or last year, I don't know which
UK
but
versions, Australia.
But it feels like the same thing, but they're just using the word South Africa. All I'm saying is there's so many villas, there's so many guest houses in locations. Where what I mean about locations, I mean like in townships, right? Whereby I just felt the need to see one of the participants there to just go out and go buy something at the shops, so that he can, so that he can showcase that yes, we do have shacks. Not to just
Exactly. Not to just green or whitewash the whole thing.
Don't
literally whitewash.
Don't paint that picture that everyone else is living in villas in South Africa. Don't paint that picture. That's a wrong picture to paint.
Sure.
Because now investors will be like coming in here and then they feel disappointed. It's like they're being cheated. So all I'm saying is you can go to like Seapoint and like at the beach and all of that stuff, and then come back to your guest house in Langa or in Kailicha. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't feel like South African for me.
Sabs real quick wanted to jump in there. Nice brief one, bro.
Just to touch on what he's saying, he is right. Listen, we have accommodation that we literally have accommodation that they have there in Township.
We're looking at it.
I don't want to say that, and I don't also know that to do, but I mean like, we have that stuff in Township. It's just that we just suck at advertising our shit. But I mean, we have accommodation, we have so much to offer, and what they did, it actually hurt me. Like I was like, I was actually waiting for disappointment, by the way. I knew I was going to disappointment, but I mean, from the contestants, from the cast itself, it was so white. And I'm like, you know what? I've met so many people who can actually do a better job, just that they don't have the exposure that they need to actually.
All the resources.
Yes.
Yeah, exposure resources, but I mean, we can do a lot, man. There's a lot of stuff. If the key is actually communication, if we can literally talk to each other, there's so much we have to offer, and it's beneficial on both ways. But I mean, I even stopped watching the show. Like, I literally stopped. Like, you know what? I just saw the people.
You're distancing a lot of South Africans.
Viewership. Yeah, let's hear them.
So I missed the first show. And then I saw the article after that first show. So we thought we'd catch the show, the repeat, but it turned out they got pulled. They pulled it off. They pulled it off DSTV. So I said to my family, let's wait for the cast and let's see the production crew, what they look like. Did I not see only 2 black people in that whole production? Meaning maybe they tried with the utmost best to get in their own people, but were overpowered. You know, so for me, it's almost like in politics when you watch the DA and the black people are trying to get the grits and fix the communities and townships, but because they're overpowered, they have no voice, and I feel like that's what happened on that show.
Okay.
I mean, if I might just jump in, right?
Yeah, of course.
The issue we have here in South Africa, right, is I feel like people still believe that in order to, succeed in something, reach a destination, achieve something, there has to be a white face involved, right? And that's why we see our TV shows, right? Why is it that a show like Love Island, an international show, still feels the need that you got to have a black sidekick? Like, if you have 2 black contestants there, that's sidekicks.
Sidekick, yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like you put them there sidekicks. Why do we not have confidence? I mean, let's be honest. Love Island is a global franchise, man. It's not a local TV show. It's a global franchise, which means you're not just pleasing or appealing to South African viewers. You have called the whole world to watch it. Now, here's the question, though. If the whole world hears the word South Africa, man.
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah. What does it mean?
You know what I'm saying? What do they want to see?
Yeah.
What do they want to?
That's a question in and of itself. That's a question in and of itself.
Understand this, right? Understand this, guys. Social media, even media, prime media itself, right? The whole purpose of that is to bridge the world, is to show the world areas which the world can't get to. Is to show an American somewhere, or an Italian somewhere, or an Australian somewhere what's happening in a particular place.
Same applies as we've seen
same applies.
in America. Like.
Exactly.
In America, yeah.
So if you're showing an Italian, South Africa is a bunch of 8 white people and 2 black people. Is that the truth?
Yeah.
They themselves are disappointed because they were like, oh, but if I take a holiday to South Africa, it's going to be like Italy. Italy has like 2 black people and 8 white people. Right? So how do you appeal to an Italian or to a German or to an Australian about South Africa or Africa in particular, right? But you're showing them that, by the way, this place is no different to your place. Why would they travel? Why would they? They travel here because when they hear Africa, they want to know, what is Africa? Who is Africa? What does Africa have to offer? And you go put a show representing what is not Africa? I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, man. Well, in my case, I don't even have a TV. I have never had a TV since 2015, 16, I think. And actually, my life is a whole lot better without it.
I totally agree with you.
I'll actually be taking a very political stance. It's always been a case in this country that, whiteys always think they're just trying to run the show the way they want to run it. Even if it's really in their own fairy tale mindset of them always being the cream on top every single time. And from time to time, they also need to be actually, have a reality check. Like, hey, actually, I don't think you know where you are. This is where you are now, and this is how we run shit. So that old mindset is gone. So this is basically a manifestation of one of those situations whereby you actually, just put them into place and say, you know what, we actually not going to stand for this one. Enough. Go back to the drawing board and actually give us something that actually represents us.
Yeah. And before you jump in, subs, I just want to make sure that Anish also has the chance to just give just impression of when you hear a show, South Africa, 60% of the cast now are white. It's supposed to be representing the country. Hang on, Tone.
So sometimes now we are getting to the wrong person, because we are just thinking like a European when I'm here.
That's
okay. It's okay.
He's right.
It's okay.
I was still waiting for your answer. Yolisa asked you. You remember?
Which one?
It asked you about you when you started the journey to be arrived in South Africa. When, example,
The thing I feel like I have an advantage of, why am I here? Rather than, I have, this advantage of being born to South African parents, so I have that citizenship. I can stay here. It's not like a tourist that has to suddenly leave after 3 months or 6 months at most. But by the same token, I have the outside perspective. So when I come in and I see South Africa that basically has huge inequality, you're like, what the flip, And it's clearly it's clearly due to an unfair history, right? So what sort of measures can we put in place to reverse those inequities? And I mean, that's ultimately been that's been more or less my mindset towards South Africa since I've arrived. It's been like, wait a minute, what?
Now Zim, she says that she looked at the names. She speaks about how she saw like the production team behind putting the whole package of Love Island, and just by reading the names she can predict that these were a bunch of white people that made this. Now I'll tell you why that's significant that she said that. In South Africa, right, we live in a country where I often feel, and in fact it's the truth, white people don't actually make the effort to integrate with black people.
Unless
No, but let me finish this point. It's a very important point.
Unless you're international.
And I'm saying this unashamedly. White South Africans don't make an effort. Black and colored South Africans and Indian South Africans make an effort. I'll give you a simple analogy of how and why they make an effort. Take a kid from a township, right? We in a township now, you in a township now. Black people who are the residents of townships, they live 2 to 3 lives in 24 hours. A black child sleeps in the township. He will leave in the morning, maybe to go to a school in a suburb, or to shop and get his groceries or necessities in a suburb. What does that do to a black child? It means they leave the township culture and setting into a different setting, right? In the morning, they interact with black people in the township. In the afternoon, they interact with white people in the suburb. In 24 hours, a black, colored, or Indian child actually interacts
with everybody,
with the whole of South Africa in one way or another. A white South African wakes up in the same morning in a suburb, shops in the same suburb, sleeps in the freaking same suburb. These people know nothing about us. We know everything about them. But let me finish this point. The point I'm trying to make is, what would you expect from a white production crew when it comes to Love Island, when they themselves know nothing about the country which they born in, naturalized in, live in, or citizens in? They know nothing about it, and you think they will be able to be the agents of change to show the world what South Africa looks like? I would rather give that same production crew to a freaking crew in the township.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they would know how to sell black, how to sell colored, how to sell white, because they live in one day.
Let's get Zim. Circle back to Zim.
I'm gonna hop back on what Lloyd said. And this is pre-production when Love Island was announced. So it popped into my Facebook and Instagram, right? And then the black people commented and said, I doubt we'll see black people. And same thing on Instagram. And what did Mnet say in the response? Do you know what they said? You have to wait and see. What then happened? Months later.
We waited and we saw.
Exactly what they said would happen happened.
Okay, Zim.
Why is that if they were already told pre-hand what we wanted? We told them what we wanted and they still went against it.
What they could do, one of their challenges, or all of their challenges, should be based in townships.
and then they can go back
They return to
And,
their villa.
and,
That's what I'm saying.
if you think about the word challenge,
Yeah.
like that's what this country needs is a fucking challenge. You know, if I had to go to a white person and be like, I challenge you to go spend one night at Kasi. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's a fucking
That's
challenge.
a challenge.
That actually
Jason,
pushes
that's
the
a
needle.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something you probably don't know. You are a challenge for me. You have your own challenge to be in a Kasi. For me to accommodate your Kasi is a challenge as well.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of the South
that's the
African
beauty of it.
situation,
That's
that
the
we
beauty of
actually
it.
rise to the challenge.
You know, also what I found, you know, within the topic of what Yoli said, the fact that they've never come to understand us is why is it that people who are foreigner can fly from Europe, America, and they have been to Township, yet our own people who live right here, they are less than 5 kilometers away, have never set foot in our own townships. How is that possible?
How is that possible?
All right, so let me know. What did you think? Agree, disagree with the points that were raised? Yeah, your participation in the comment section means a lot to me and to our community. I think it's the only way we're going to be able to bridge the gap between black, white, haves, have-nots in the country. Yeah, it means a lot, and looking forward to reading them. Yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. It's going to be a great one. Yeah, thanks as always for your time and attention. Yabulela kakulu. Bekum nandi. Ube side by side nani. And until next time, peace.